I'm sorry. I can't go back. Sobriety has made me the man I never thought I'd be. Now I'm going home to my family.
Hello and welcome to the Hypertrophy Odyssey, chapter 291. It is the first day of the week, aka the Kamehameha workout. I'm feeling pretty good right now. Got a bunch of stuff done and getting a bunch more done today, so that is great. But anyways, to the main subject matter for today. We are continuing on our series of looking at all 7 of the virtues that we can see. The last one we hit was right here, patience. So today we'll be talking temperance. So I'll be honest, I had no idea what the hell this was. It wasn't until I had to look it up and realize, oh, this is what this is. I never really even heard the term temperance before, honestly. Like, I might have in like passing or every once in a while, but it's something that for some reason I just didn't even know, I didn't know the term existed or something. It was just like blotted out of my head. So this will be an interesting one because when looking at it, it means more so along the lines of balance and not necessarily abstaining because that's a different one, but just having a balance of things and all this other stuff when it comes to pertaining to indulgences and all that other stuff. So we'll probably look at the definition and stuff like that for this one because, yeah, I didn't know this was a thing, and looking into it is very interesting because I talk about this a lot, honestly. So I think that is the underlying tone of half of what the sins was back in the day, or I'm not going to put all of the videos up here, but that'd be ridiculous, but still all of those videos, because I did not know that there was a term for this. So this is kind of a little bit of a shock, to say the least. But with that being said, we'll talk more about this and a bunch of other stuff in regards to temperance when we get to Mother Base.
All right, so started this day off with dips, which were pretty good. But anyways, back to the main subject matter at hand for today, which is temperance, one of the 7 virtues, which actually, if you Google temperance, that's actually one of the first things that come up is the actual virtues, which is very interesting, kind of weirdly glad, but it is something that I did not know that this was a word that was defined in the English language. I was completely unaware, which is kind of interesting. I feel like I would have known about this if I had gone to like an AA meeting, because apparently it is something synonymous with alcoholic beverages. Apparently, I did not know that either. This is a very interesting turn of events, I'll say, about this. But before we continue on, what is temperance? Temperance, noun, moderation in action, thought, or feeling, aka restraint, or 2, a habitual moderation in the indulgence of appetites or passions. So when looking at this in this general state or definition, I should say, it is basically what would be the opposite of gluttony, because gluttony is something that we have to deal with a lot. Honestly, a lot of people deal with it. I dealt with it a lot in my life, but temperance, just the idea of slowing down an indulgent feeling, really. And I think gluttony is the complete opposite, where you indulge yourself, you gorge on or masticate or whatever into your own world and kind of overdose on it, basically. You kind of go and say fuck it and kind of eat a lot and stuff like that. But when it comes to temperance itself, it seems as though moderation is something that isn't necessarily taught or really talked about in general. I don't think this isn't just necessarily a thing in food, but moderation and temperance in other aspects of life. For example, social media use is a huge one. I think a lot of people end up using social media a lot, or even their phones. Screen time is crazy. If you actually look up the statistics about how much screen time you have on your phone, it's probably a lot more than you expect. Even I, who's not necessarily a huge fan of my phone, still have a lot of screen time, mostly because of YouTube. I'll have video playing in the background while I'm doing stuff. But regardless, that is way more than I would have ever thought. It is something that isn't really taught. But going back, when it comes to food in particular, temperance there is something that isn't necessarily an American thing and or any country that has obesity issues. And a lot of people don't really understand the amount of food that you're supposed to have in a portion size. I think that is the biggest eye-opening thing that ever happened to me, was really portioning out food and realizing how actually little it is. For example, my favorite thing to realize was that a serving of Oreos was 3 Oreos. That was crazy to me because I remember eating 10 to 12 of these things in one go and then wondering why I'm fat. You know, it's like you really start seeing everything once you understand certain aspects of food and calories and all that other stuff. Practicing moderation is a little tougher when it comes to these highly palatable and highly satiating things, and or things that are very indulgent to have to deal with. Food is the easiest because I understand it. I've been there. I've had that. But there are other people who indulge in other things like smoking, vaping. What is it? Gambling is another thing that people can have moderation in. Drinking is the big one, and I understand that one as well. And I think there is somewhat to do with being older, a little bit of being wiser, understanding your body, I think, a lot of the time. And I think that's what has gotten me a little bit more better with temperance in certain aspects of my life, as well as being consistent with the gym and all that other stuff, but being just able to make sure that there are certain restraints because I know what the other side looks like. For example, if I eat too much, or if I just enjoy things a little too much, if I drink too much, you know, like I understand where the other side is, where the morning after that sucks, the bloating that can happen, I'm just kind of feeling like trash for the next 3 days because I ate too much Taco Bell, that type of stuff. And whilst I don't think anybody should be on the other side of it, obviously, I think that being on the other side of it and realizing that it is causing these things can kind of help you understand where the moderation could come in. But then, of course, there is some slight willpower or habitual moderation that has to happen. Some habitual changes to your own lifestyles that will make it so you don't have to go down those roads anymore. But it is a harder thing to do. And I'm not going to say it's easy, but once you understand yourself a little bit better, you can really stop these things, or at least slow them down and understand what they're doing to you before they control you, and make sure that you have no control over yourself, really.
And we're back. Welcome to the workout debriefing. Exercises not filmed, none. Exercises skipped, also none. Got everything in, thankfully. But anyways, back to the main subject matter at hand. Temperance. So this is actually quite astonishing. I did not know, like I said before, I did not know this existed. I literally talked about this in all of the other videos beforehand, and it's kind of great. It's kind of like knowing, like, oh hey, what I was talking about is a thing. Look at that. It's like one of those stories where you're thinking of an idea for something, and then all of a sudden you realize, oh, this is already an idea. My friend had the idea of having a bunch of pick your own cable company, basically, like pick your own channels, and then there you go. Then streaming happened. That kind of basically ruined that. My brother has a good band name story about that too. Maybe I've already talked about it, but that's another story for a different day, just because that's a funny thing. And I'll give more examples of that because that's a whole other subject matter. But for here, I just want to say, temperance is a great thing. I would recommend it highly to most people. Balance everything out to making sure that you're not more even keel than anything before you. Making sure you aren't going into the temptations of things left or right, regardless of what they are. Making sure that you're staying relatively neutral. Now, not everything you should be neutral in life. There are things that you should be on a side or the other. Being a fence sitter is not necessarily great, but when it comes to things that can easily lead you down a road of, let's say, a pathway to hell, basically, you would want to stay away from that, or at least maintain it so you do not lose yourself into the hellholes that they become. So practice some temperance and be in the middle. Just abstain from certain things and make sure that you can be even keel as much as you can. But with that being said, tell me what you think in the comments below. I'd love to know your thoughts and opinions about this one. This one was more of this was a continuation of my series on the 7 virtues. We will be coming back next Kamehameha workout to talk about the next one. So we will see which one we will do, says this was a very interesting one. Like I said, finding out this exists is kind of crazy. But anyways, tell me your thoughts and opinions in the comment section down below. Please like, comment, and subscribe. Please share this video with anybody who may or may not like it. I will be back on tomorrow with a new video. Thanks again for watching. I really do appreciate it. I will see you in the next one. Keep it heavy. Stay safe out there. Stay warm. And I'll see you in the next one. Peace.